I was so excited to finally see wild violets popping up in mid-April, and quite happy to begin making some colorful springtime wild crafted creations. Like many of the plants I talk about on this channel, wild violets are often seen as a common weed on lawns that need to be removed. But when you get down onto their level and just give them a look, there is no denying how beautiful and cheerful these little treasures are. Not to mention, they are also edible and medicinal. In the spring, many of these violets appear on our lawn, ranging in color from a deep violet to a lighter lavender color. And this year I had some friends who allowed me to pick from their lawn as well. And they have these beautiful white violets with purple veins coming from the middle. So special thanks to Kelly, Kim, and Phil for allowing me to raid your lawn of violets before you mowed. I was also lucky enough to have some sweet helpers who picked violets with me this year. Now, when wildcrafting or foraging, it is always important to make sure that you leave behind a good amount of native or beneficial plants. But since this lawn was just about to be mowed, I felt justified in harvesting as much as I could, which was really exciting for me. So gorgeous. So up to this point, I have only made wild violets into the beautiful bright blue infusion which they create as an herbal tea. The water-soluble color pigments which give wild violets their color are anthocyanins, and they are pH sensitive. So depending on the pH, the color will change. And they have such a beautiful range of color change. This year I made my first ever wild violet syrup, and there is a link in the description to the recipe that I used. I was also really excited to put some of the violets into the flower press to create something cheery that could be enjoyed during any season and for years to come. But back to the syrup. One batch of syrup came out to be the normal dark blue color of violet syrup. The other batch had somewhat of a gray color to it, but once I added some lemon juice to both of them, I was able to get some spectacular colors. For the batch of syrup that came out the correct color, I added only a few drops of lemon juice, which both cleared up the color and lightened it to this magical purple. The batch that came out somewhat gray needed a little more touching up with the lemon juice, so I added many more drops of lemon to this one and produced this beautiful magenta color. Next year I will definitely work more on my violet syrups, and as I gain more experience, I am sure it will get better every year. Yet I am still so pleased with how these came out, even though I was hoping to have more of the purple colored syrup. So I had this idea in my head that I would use my syrups to make cake icing. I really wanted to try to get the color into the icing, but I had a feeling it would not come out the way I pictured it, and it didn't. It was just a simple white buttercream icing. To add more color to it, I added some strawberries and of course some wild violets and wild violet leaves. And then I was really happy with how it came out. Plus, it really did taste delicious. Next, I decided to make some lemonade, because when life gives you lemons and violets, you make wild violet pink lemonade, of course. So I started out with 1 cup of violet syrup, added about a gallon of water, and then the juice of 2 lemons, and then some ice. I tend to like my lemonade a little less on the sweet side, but if you are someone who prefers a sweeter lemonade, you could always just add more of the syrup into the mix. Now, one of the first things I did with these violets was I froze them into some ice cubes, and I feel that it really did add a nice touch to our wild violet pink lemonade. Then it was time to have a little tea party, or rather a lemonade and cake party. And I just have to say, I had my daughter in mind in making all of this, but I think I ended up enjoying it just as much, if not a little bit more. To me, wild violets are little treasures found in the grass during springtime. Just the sight of them brings me great joy, and now I have some lovely memories to be reminded of every spring when I see them. Sadly, they are just about done blooming for this season, but I can't wait to see them again next spring. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a lovely rest of your spring.